When you're injured or lose a loved one in an accident, it's the results that matter, and results are what you get with the Brosnahan Law Firm. Whether it's a vehicle accident, wrongful death, or injured child, the Brosnahan Law Firm is the right choice. Call 457-3000.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Getting the right look at the right price
Perfect.
is always in style at Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to From the Dugout here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk Winona WinStars 16U, 18U softball with Brian Russell, their head coach. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's first, before we get into WinStars, let's talk a little bit about you and your history and your sports history. Obviously, you're from the area, but what's your background in sports?
As a kid growing up, we didn't have the opportunities that kids today have with traveling teams. So, it was park rec baseball, park rec football. I grew up in a neighborhood that we had a couple of fields that there was always a pickup game of some sort going on. When I got to junior high, played football and was a swimmer. And then when I got to high school, decided I wanted to have a job and cut down to one sport. Chose the one that I thought I was best at, which was swimming, and then, like a lot of people at the end of your high school career, on to real life, and the sports are over. So I love sports, all kinds. Have played all kinds throughout my life. But
All right. So the interest in coaching, did that come once you had kids and they were involved in sports?
it did. When I've got 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 daughter, and when my kids kind of naturally developed my love for sports as they were growing up. Played a lot of baseball, played football and things. And when my oldest son got into 6th grade at the middle school, he decided he wanted to go out for football. They were looking for volunteer coaches. And I love the game, love the kids, and I had a job that offered me the opportunity to have time off to do that. So I took that opportunity, and that was about 17, 18 years ago. And moved from football to baseball that same year, and then 10 years ago, when my daughter started playing WinStars Sparklers program, they asked me if I would be interested in coaching a Sparklers team, so that's how I got my start with the WinStars.
All right, and how have your kids reacted to you being a coach and coaching them?
They've been good with it. Every season I ask them, they've asked me to coach again. Are you okay with that? And they know that they've always had the option to say, no, I would prefer you didn't, because I'm always concerned about being fair to them, making sure that somebody doesn't think that I'm favoring them, and even harder is sometimes making sure that I don't expect more from them than I would from someone else. But to date they've all said, yeah, we'd love to have you coach, so I've continued to do it.
All right. Let's talk then about the WinStars program now. So your daughter who pitches, she's gone through the ranks. What is it with this team? Because it's a combined team. It's 16U and 18U, and that's just recently that those combined. What has it been like coaching this team?
We're just kind of getting going. We've only played 4 league games so far. We have our first tournament this weekend. This has been a little different. Every year I started with a group of girls when they were 8 years old in Sparklers, and I pretty much moved up with all of them through the years. So I've had pretty much the same group of girls every year. This year, half a dozen of them graduated from high school, and so they're working summer jobs and getting ready to go off to college, so they're not playing. So the team this year is a different group of girls. I still have a few girls that I've coached in the past. And what we've got this year is, we've got some girls from Winona High, we've got some girls from Cotter, and we've got 1 player from GET. So trying to get those girls to come together and to work together, make sure that everyone's on the same page. Every coach does things a little bit differently. The GET coach, I'm sure, does things differently than the Cotter coach and the Winona High coach. And so it's trying to get everyone on the same page, primarily defensively, to make sure that we communicate well and can get the job done.
Do you ever hear from any of the other coaches, or do they give you input on how they want their players to play during the summer, and if there's something they need to focus on?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've historically done, so the WinStars was founded as a developmental program for both Winona High and Cotter, and over the years, a lot of the girls that I've had that play for me were in the Winona High program. So over the years, talked with Scott Halverson about each individual girl. What would you like them to be working on over the summer? Where would you like us to focus? And we utilize their a lot of their programs, so the girls don't have to relearn something. So we're just reinforcing what they've learned in the school season, and that really comes from the years of coaching baseball at the middle school, where we would get, and football, where we get our direction from the varsity coach. So we're running the Winona High bunt coverages. We're running the Winona High first and third defensive coverages. We use some of the same calls and signs that they use.
All right. Let's talk about getting the program going during the year, because over the last couple of years, both Winona High and Cotter have extended their seasons in the playoffs, which means that you can't get a hold of the girls then, because you have to wait until that season is done before you're able to arrange a practice, get a schedule started. How has that kind of worked out?
Right. So when the girls are younger, 10, 12, and 14, not a problem. Their life is softball, and they don't have the school ball that kind of interferes with that, and it interferes in a good way, because as you said, our both Cotter teams and the Winona High teams have had really good success at the high school level for the last few years, which means they've gone deep into their playoff season, which gets them into the month of June, and we start the first week of June. Last year, we had to push some games back in the first week because both the high school and the Cotter team were at the state tournament. So it gets a little difficult. This year, we had one practice before our first game because, again, both those teams got to the section championship game, and that one practice, we didn't hit a ball. We worked on defensive things, trying, again, communication. How are we going to cover this? How are we going to cover that? And trying to get the girls used to playing next to someone different from who they've spent the whole spring playing next to.
And how has that gone for the past couple of weeks?
It's gone well. Our record's not quite what we would like it to be. We're 1-3 in league at the moment, and defensively we've been fine. We had one inning a week ago that we kind of blew up a little bit, and that inning probably cost us that game. We lost by 1 run. But otherwise, it's been our hitting that's been a little slow coming, and defensively, I ask my girls to get better every day, and that's what we do. Every day there's improvement, and we get a little better every day. So we're looking forward to going to Mankato this weekend for our first tournament of the year and see how we do against competition that comes from all over the country. So.
All right, and then last question for this segment, where can they find you? Where do you play your home games, and where do they get information?
They can get information from the Winona WinStars website. So they all have schedules posted for all of the teams. So there's a 10U team, a 12U, 14U, and then the high school team. Our schedules are there. They'll tell you the games that we play. Our home games are played either at the Winona High varsity field or at the Cotter field. And we've only got 4 weeks left in our season for league. We're on the road this week down to Wayland to play the St. Charles Gamblers. And then we finish up the 11th and the 18th at home. The 11th we are at the Winona High varsity field at 6 o'clock. And then on the 18th we are at the Cotter varsity field at 6 o'clock for a doubleheader.
All right, well, very good for the rest of the season then.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on From the Dugout. We'll get the player perspective as Carson Johnson joins us right after this.
When you're injured or lose a loved one in an accident, it's the results that matter. And results are what you get with the Brosnahan Law Firm. Whether it's a vehicle accident, wrongful death, or injured child, the Brosnahan Law Firm is the right choice. Call 457-3000.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price
Perfect.
is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
And welcome back to From the Dugout. Carson Johnson now joins us. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Recently graduated from Winona Senior High School. So what's that feel like to finally be done with high school?
Freedom at last.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about your career at Winona High. You played obviously softball, but tennis as well. You've
Yep.
been involved in some other things, including student council. I imagine one of your memories you'll take away is the state championship
Yes.
when you were a sophomore. What do you remember from that?
Oh gosh. I remember being in the section tournament and having to run. I wasn't playing really at the time, but I was running, and it was just one of the most stressful things I've ever done, probably.
Did that kind of set you up then for the last 2 years of your high school career then to debut at that kind of stage and then already have that kind of pressure away from
Yeah, it's definitely nice to not get really just thrown into the game. You have to have the experience, I think.
Okay. And then recently you just played in the Minnesota State All-Star game for softball. Tell us about that experience.
It was probably the weirdest softball experience I've ever had. It was really fun, but it was just really weird, having to play with all these girls that I've played against my whole career, basically. I don't know, I thought that I wouldn't like anybody, but it was actually really fun.
All right. So, I mean, what do you know about your opponents going into, or even your teammates going into that? Is it just kind of, I've seen you 1 or 2 times a year and been against you, and now I'm playing with you?
I actually was on the team with Michaela Armbruster, who is the pitcher for Faribault, and she actually just won the Miss Softball for Minnesota a couple days ago. So that was really cool. Going into it, I knew that I was playing with the best of the best, which is a really nice feeling.
Okay. Let's talk about your career with the WinStars then. How long have you played for the WinStars?
I started with Sparklers when I was about 7-ish, first grade. And I've played with them ever since, basically. My dad was my coach, and that was weird. And then I played for a Winona High team over the summer 1 year, and then Gamblers last year, but I'm back to the WinStars, so. Okay.
You were talking about the fact that she plays center field mainly, but can play infield, outfield. What are some other things that Carson brings to this team?
She's got some speed. She's a good hitter. She bats in the top 4 batters in our lineup. Her experience that she brings to the outfield, playing center field, kind of the captain of the outfield out there. So she's got good speed, gets good jumps on the balls, and we've got some younger girls this year. Carson is the oldest, as she's our only graduating senior that's on the team. So her experience from playing in those state tournament things certainly give her an opportunity to help the younger girls on our team.
Okay. Do you feel the mentorship role? Do you kind of help the younger players that are out there?
I try. I don't really like to take charge too much because I don't want people to not like me, but I also tell people good job and stuff, and I'll give constructive criticism, but that's about it.
Okay. And your future plans now, you're going to be going to Winona State.
Yep.
Does softball play any part in your future?
I'm not playing softball for Winona State, but I am going to be an athletic trainer. So I think if I wouldn't have played softball or sports at all, I wouldn't be interested in that, obviously. But I don't know, maybe I'll play
just kind of rec ball or that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the rest of the season that you have left, have you kind of set any goals for yourself? What are you looking forward to this season?
I really want to work on my hitting even more because that's kind of, I don't know, that's a big part of the game, I think. And probably just playing different positions because I was mostly second base up until last year. That's all I ever played until last year. So
how has the transition been going from second to center field?
It's really weird because you're in charge of a lot more, I feel like, and you really got to be on top of everything all the time.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming in here, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on From the Dugout, and when we come back, we'll have more right here on HBC TV 25 after this.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price Perfect. Is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
When you're injured or lose a loved one in an accident, it's the results that matter, and results are what you get with the Brosnahan Law Firm. Whether it's a vehicle accident, wrongful death, or injured child, the Brosnahan Law Firm is the right choice. Call 457-3000.
And welcome back to From the Dugout here on HBC TV 25. Time to talk VFW Buddies baseball. Head coach Don Freeman, thank you for coming back here today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
So you're about the midway point of the season.
Yeah, we're midway. We're 4-4, and we're technically tied for 7th place with Cannon Falls. We have beaten them, so the tiebreaker would make us 6. Right. They would be 8, maybe we'd be 7, depends how it shakes out. So last week we played Cannon in Cannon Falls, and Kale, who was a previous guest last time we did this, we won 2-0, an hour and 25-minute baseball game.
Wow.
So it was rolling.
That's good.
And he gave up 3 hits the first inning. We turned a double play, got out of that. He gave up a hit in the 7th, and he walked a kid, and we had 2-zip, and kid was at third base, and we dodged that bullet, and then we went to Austin, and we had 14 hits, left 14 men on base, which you don't win baseball games by doing that. Right. And we hit the ball really, really well. And we played okay, it's just that we didn't get a key hit when we needed it. And that's what baseball's about, key spots and stuff like that. So this week, we have probably the tough week. We're playing the Mayo Spartans tomorrow and they've lost 1 game. I think they're like 6-1 or 7-1, 6-1 I think. And then we played Northfield, who's undefeated, and I've heard they're really, really, really good. So we got a tough test. We'll kind of find out how we are and where we are, and hope we'll have a smile on our face once or twice or both times, and get that done. And then we got an easier group after that. There's some teams that haven't won ball games, so we have 3 of those. Okay. So if you look at that part, and you still got to play the game, And but it's been fun. We're learning and practicing hard, and you get a little rain out here. Like yesterday, we didn't practice because the ballpark's a little bit wet from Sunday, and then rain forecasts kept coming through. So I said, let's go on Tuesday when it's supposed to be sunny and 80 degrees. So that's what we decided to do. And I have the player today is another Cotter kid, because one of my Cotter kids, because the Winona High kids are busy with camps. I know there's football and hockey going on, so. And I asked everyone, and they all had something to do, so they said they would do it at some point in time. But okay. So I didn't want to go. I wanted to go Cotter kid, Winona kid, Cotter kid, Winona kid, but it didn't work out that way. So
yeah, we've got a couple more shows this summer before your season is over, so we'll get everybody on there. I want to ask you, kind of from the coaching standpoint, because you said this is your first year with this team, and you've had the combined Winona High and Cotter lineups. Have you figured out like a consistent lineup yet? Do you have players that are kind of playing in the usual positions, or are you kind of mixing things up a little
bit? I started mixing things up about 3 weeks ago, and I've kind of got a set group now that I thought I was going to take this job. Stuck over and watched the junior varsity Winona kids play, so I see what I was getting. Mm-hmm. I didn't know one kid, not one kid that I know. And then I talked to Charlie Wright a little bit and asked him, what am I getting? Who am I getting? How are they? Blah, blah, blah. And so I've been moving people around quite a bit, actually. And then we had a set lineup, and then 3 of them just decided they had to disappear for a basketball tournament, much to my dismay. And so I had put some pieces in there and scolded them when they got back, and hopefully for the rest of the summer we'll have a set group. Okay. And it's pretty much set now. I've got, one or two leaving at one point in time, but I have people that will fill in mostly. 3 guys is hard to fill that in. So.
Yeah, that's kind of the way summer goes. Where
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
vacations
When they say family thing, you have to do family things. Just that's why it's called the family thing,
Yeah.
I think, I guess. So, but it's been fun, and I've gotten to meet 14 new kids that I probably would have never ever met before if I wouldn't have taken this job. And I'm glad I did take the job because it's been fun so far.
Who's been having some of your best hitting performances this year?
Well, we struggled to start out with, and but lately, like I said, we had 14 hits. Our leadoff hitter is Quinn Larson, who's doing a really good job. Hits the ball hard all the time, not always getting on base. And then Jack Thompson has been hitting really well, and so does Jacob Heffman. So. And I've got some guys that are really quick or fast. So we've been doing a little bunting and trying to, manufacture runs that way too. And our pitching has been pretty solid, I think, overall. We haven't been hammered by anybody. We have a hiccup here and there, but all in all, we've been pitching really well. And like I say, Cale pitched a complete game 2-zip shutout against Cannon Falls last Wednesday. So he pitched really well, and they're not a bad ball club. They're pretty decent. They're well coached by a guy that's been around baseball, not quite as long as I have, but Bucky Muris, and just a nice guy too. So,
you mentioned that every once in a while you'll have a couple players that have been gone. How does that kind of affect the pitching? Because obviously you don't want to throw some guys too often or too hard. How's your rotation?
Well, and I've got a rotation, and we play Wednesdays and Saturdays. Only the first game counts on Saturdays. So I've got 3 guys that have been pitching: Cale Beckman and Jack Thompson, and then Tucker Merkowitz. And Tucker Merkowitz started the first game of the year, and he's pitched really well. He's had a couple bumps. So he's scheduled to go tomorrow, which he will do. And then Cale's scheduled for Saturday, which he'll do. And then next week, we have Wednesday, Saturday again, and it'll be Thompson and then back to Tucker. And I've discovered we have a little more relief pitching than I thought I had, because we threw some kids who did pretty good in the second game against Austin. And so I'm pleasantly surprised about if I have to call on somebody, I got an idea who I can do, and so that's pretty much set, thank heaven. And we got a big tournament in St. Cloud, and we'll probably use a lot of pitching because there's some real good teams up there. So.
All right, we're going to take a break here on From the Dugout. When we come back, as Coach said, we'll talk with Nathan Stanislavski from Winona Cotter. That's coming up right after this.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Getting the right look at the right price
Perfect.
is always in style at Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
When you're injured or lose a loved one in an accident, it's the results that matter. And results are what you get with the Brosnahan Law Firm. Whether it's a vehicle accident, wrongful death, or injured child, the Brosnahan Law Firm is the right choice. Call 457-3000.
And welcome back to From the Dugout. Time now to get the player perspective. Nathan Stanislavski joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so you just completed your sophomore year at Cotter and on the VFW team. Let's talk a little bit about your Cotter days here because you've played soccer and you've also played baseball for Cotter. Does anything stand out in your first couple years at Cotter?
Well, the athletics for guys not been too great since we've been there, especially football. And then we've lost a lot of size and height to our teams, so we haven't been doing too good for teams who are bigger than us. But we're all pretty athletic, and we all just love the sports. So.
Okay, and your family has been kind of big into Cotter sports over the years, right? Your dad takes pictures, and Paige is your sister, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she went through, I remember that with soccer. So tell me a little bit about soccer and baseball and all the different things you do. Do you have a favorite sport? It's okay if it's not baseball.
My favorite sport is baseball.
Okay.
And so baseball is something I want to spend a lot more time doing over the next few years. And soccer is one of the sports I really like. And I just started it because I wanted a sport to play in 7th grade, but I didn't want to play football because I wasn't too big. And so I just started soccer, and it's something I really liked, so I kept doing it.
Now, from what I understand, you have a pretty good work ethic. We'll talk to Coach Freeman in a second about your improvement in baseball. But when I was looking back at some different Cotter documents, you were, as a freshman, most improved on the boys' soccer team. So, what's your thought on work ethic, and how do you approach your sports?
Well, I just go up there and do everything I can do, and try to help all the teammates and help what they can do. And in the end, I just want to work as hard as I can, get as good as I can.
Okay, and baseball-wise, what have you seen in Nathan?
Well, he played last year as a 9th grader, and we had a lot of 9th graders playing, and now this year is a 10th grader. His defensive stuff has gotten 150% better than when he first came on board. He still has some work to be done on hitting, and I'm working with him, and I guess unbeknown to me yesterday, he took a lesson from a hitting coach who I respect dearly, and I hope he picked up a couple of things that he straightened out for him. And then he also pitches, so he plays outfield and pitches, and he's one of those left-handed kids that I maintain they can't throw a ball in the same spot twice, but Nathan's ball just dives, flies. If he could throw strikes all the time, nobody would hit him because they don't. He just has trouble throwing strikes, and we're working on that. He's got to come over the top a little bit more. And I called my brother-in-law, who played at WSU, and he was a pitching coach at WSU, and he's the coach at Beaver Dam. And I said, I have a left-handed kid. What can I do? And he said, what is he doing? And he said, how's his foot landing? And where's his arm coming from? And is his body ahead of his arm? And so we started looking at stuff like that, and his body was ahead of his arm. So every time he plays catch, I holler, over the top, and like I say, he could be very, very good pitcher if he could consistently throw strikes.
All right.
And some left-handers have that problem.
Okay, so high praise for that. Coach Freeman talked about your defense. How did you improve your defense? What are some of the things that you worked on?
Every day at practice, I just went out and did as good as I could do, and at games, I just tried to stay focused and just hustle to the ball.
Okay, second half of the Buddies season coming up now. What are some things that you're doing well, and what are some of the things that maybe you need to work on towards the end of the season?
Well, one of the things I could really work on is hitting, and then so that's what I'm trying to do right now. So I have a bunch of drills I'm working on, and I could also really work on pitching. So when I pitch, I just need to get my arm with my body, like Don said. Mm-hmm. And something I'm doing well is like working hard on defense and cheering the other team on.
All right, and then if you could choose, what would be your best position out in the field? What would you want to do consistently?
What would I want to do consistently? I would really want to do outfield consistently, but as I told Don earlier in the Cotter season, I would want to try a little bit of first base, and he sort of agrees.
All right. So
yeah, well, I really like a left-handed first baseman, so he hit kind of a nice little soft spot for me because I think it looks natural for a left-handed first baseman. So I said, go out, and I just bought a right-handed first baseman glove for the team because we didn't have one, and I bought a catcher glove the year before. So, but I just, I don't think I'd go buy a left-handed one now because you don't have that many left-handed first basemen or kids that are left-handed. So he might have to spring for one of his own, but I think he could do it because it's a natural position for a left-hander.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and good luck in the second half of the season.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Thank you for joining us here on From the Dugout. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.